Hi, everybody. Welcome to this week's Brain Food for Accounting Leaders. This is Sandy Smith-Leva, and we've got one of my favorite ones. We're just starting with some of the core beliefs, starting with some of the core facts around your brain, and plasticity is what I want to talk about today. You may have heard that term in the news, but I want to go a little bit deeper with you and let you know what the profound impact is on brain plasticity. So for 100 years, we've kind of been stuck in some wrong thinking around the brain because scientists thought that the nervous system, including the brain, was completely fixed at birth. So basically, you really weren't able to change. You were really reliant on your genetics. You were reliant on what you were born with, so to speak, and that was the end of that. So that's what we were taught if we were raised in school, probably before the 1990s, and maybe in some places today, they're still teaching those wrong beliefs. So the belief that we need to kind of slash now is people thought you were stuck with the IQ and the habits and all the things that you had at birth, and nothing would really change your personality because that was kind of what you were born with. Well, that's completely wrong. Enter plasticity. There have been a series of studies that are going to really open your mind, and I want to, at the end, I'll tell you how I feel about these studies. But first, and really the essential part of this is that what they have all in common is that they all, through practice, have been able to enlarge a certain part of the brain. So, for example, London scientists studied the London taxi drivers, which are really different from the U.S. taxi drivers. They have to go through a 2-year program, and they have to memorize like 2,000 streets and locations, and it's a huge test. It's called the knowledge that they have to pass before they can become one of those London taxi drivers with those black cars with the doors that open the wrong way and they drive on the wrong side of the street. But basically, the study showed that for taxi drivers, the years of experience, the more years of experience, the bigger the hippocampus. And the hippocampus is the part of the brain that talks about, or that tells us how to do navigation. So basically, the more experience the taxi drivers had, the bigger hippocampus, the better navigators they were. They also studied bilingual speakers in another study. They found that the part of the brain that controls speech, which is Broca's and Wernicke's area, in case you're curious, actually got bigger with bilingual speakers, people who could speak more than one language. So that part of the brain was bigger because there was more associated with it. Violin players have such feelings on the end of their fingers that their motor cortex, the part that controls their fingertips, is much larger in people that don't play string instruments. So are you getting the picture? Basically, you can actually start to control your brain through practice. And here's what the breakthrough studies show. The breakthrough studies show that we actually create new neurons in our brain. Those are cells. Those are brain cells every day. Even the day we die, we're still creating new neurons. So our brain is changing every day. And we've also found, just in the last 20 years, that environment shapes us. Yes, we're genetically, there's some genetic predispositions, especially things like height and eye color. We can't change a couple of those things, but we can certainly change behavior. We can certainly change training. And our environment shapes us more than we would ever want to know. And our environment actually can sometimes reverse genetics. We've found that. And that is, if you want to get real detailed, DNA is our genetics, but RNA is our expression of the genetics. And that environment our RNA expression can be changed through environment. So just not to give you too much science, but to back up what I'm saying. So if you wanted to look at these studies, I've got a couple of quotes here. The bottom line here is the brain is plastic, and that is the term for the fact that the brain can be changed and modified. If you think about Play-Doh, that's what you're getting. You can make a beautiful shape out of your brain, at this point. New neurons are generated every day. Interventions, meaning some of the actions that we do in our life and that we can intentionally create for ourselves, can influence our emotional responses. So we actually can control our emotions. We can control our personality. We can control and change behavior the way we want to. I love this quote from B. Alan Wallace, who is a meditation genius. Of the 6 senses, those of us especially who are a little bit up there in our age, mental perception is the only one we can enhance as others get dimmer with age. So good to know that we can control something as we get older. So here's the bottom line with plasticity. You can almost literally design your own brain. You can change things about you that you might not realize that you thought were fixed. You can even raise your IQ. It has been proven. Now, you can't double or triple your IQ, but certainly what we know about experts is once you put your 10,000 hours in, you far exceed the performance of any high IQ person because you've got more experience and intuition around that expert topic. And you can change behavior. Emotions are actually one of the things that are the most malleable in the brain. This is what we've seen with the positivity research. So what I'm going to suggest that you do for this week is think about what beliefs you need to change or let go of. Think about what parts of your brain you want to make bigger or maybe even smaller. All right? And I'll leave you with that, and we'll see you next week for a new brain food.